There. Do you want attention from everyone?
Yes, please.
All right, hi everybody. Hey. Welcome to DAC. So everyone who wants to follow along with Aaron, if you want to come, there's lots of table space. There's a little bit of table space, so come on forward. Everyone else in the lab, if you just keep it down so that DAC can have their session. Thanks a lot.
No.
Hey guys, I'm just curious, how many of you are first year game developers? First year? And you guys are here for this session, or yeah? Okay, so like I've been over this topic with a few people last year, and I'm mainly doing this for first year game developers, and it's something that will come in handy for the rest of your years. So my name's Aaron. I'm a fourth year game developer. Woo! And I'm here to teach post-processing or color correction. And they'll help with all your digital paintings to make things look more vivid and beautiful. So here's what we're doing. Post-processing, I'll teach you how to clean up your scanned work and how to make it presentable. Also, you can make your own filters and use them in any Photoshop document. And Nora will be teaching you how to make your own galaxy or nebula.
From scratch.
From scratch. Okay. So.
Thank you.
So the first. Yeah, it's the same picture from last year, and if any of you guys have been in this class already, I'm sorry. So it's mostly for first year game developers. So open your browser and go to Google. Oh, the internet's bad? Shit.
If you have an internet, there are internets all over the place.
So I hope you have Photoshop on your computers.
Affinity's like that one. The other one. So Affinity's got better filters than Photoshop. Photoshopp's got better filters than
Oh no, I hope it finds the picture I'm looking for. Oh no, it's in Google.
That's okay. It has filters too. It's just not as many.
Why'd you open Firefox?
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, I don't use Firefox.
So if any of you guys have internet, just type forest in Google, and we're gonna use one of these images to color correct. The one that I'm using is this one, but it's got a crazy resolution on it. So you could pick any smaller one, like pretty much any picture that you want. I like this one because it has both cold and warm colors. So I'll be teaching you how to correct this one. You can pick any one of these. So I'll show you how to bring it over into Photoshop. So I'm gonna click View Image, and I'm gonna right click, Copy Image, and then you pull up Photoshop, and you literally just press Control V. Wait, copy.
Yeah, you did it twice.
Oh, okay, sweet. So it did actually paste here.
Just below.
You press Control V, and your image should be over there. If it's too big, press Control T. So Control T brings up these transform handles over there, and that lets you resize your image like that. And you can even press the Shift key to resize it evenly, so it maintains the aspect ratio. So just try and make that full screen, and tell me when you're ready, and then we'll begin color correcting.
Got an image, everybody? Yeah? Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Not yet? Almost ready?
Almost low time.
This site can't be reached.
They have the weirdest faces.
There's probably stock.
Like old guys are struggling to get the names. I like that image of how there's arrows wide. Wait, just great. For some reason.
It's annoying.
Right click to go to.
So Control T is to bring up those handles, just in case you want to resize stuff. So everyone has this forest picture. You managed to paste it?
Yeah, I just pasted it. Well, I'm on Affinity because I don't have Photoshop.
Oh, I see. I heard some of the tools might be similar, but I've not used it, so So all of you guys good?
Not really.
No? Do you need help?
Oh, no.
No, you're not gonna piece this picture's like filtered.
You gotta pick up.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to pull?
I'll save it this time.
Oh, you opening up in your phone?
Yeah, because I don't have Photoshop. I tried downloading like 5 times. It didn't work. I don't know why.
Do you have an Ethernet cable?
No, it's up in Res.
See, whenever you install software for Portal Manager, you always have.
Okay.
Because like you're pulling from the campus servers and they
Yeah. Yeah.
Based on it's good up to the.
Would this work?
Yeah, I know how to do this.
that could work. Do you think that's so great? Yeah.
It's gonna be a nice week.
All right, so I'm gonna proceed. If any of you guys still did get that, you can just see what I'm doing on the computer. So basically, what I'm gonna do, I have a regular daytime forest over here, and I'm gonna try to use the same image and convert it into evening time and nighttime. So I got an evening time over there, and I got a nighttime. And it's the same image. I just post-processed it to have different things. And typically, what you can do in a game is, sorry, I just gotta open my flash drive. So in a game, for first-year game developers, you can save out the sprites for like daytime. You can apply the filter to it, and you can blend the alpha channel, which is the transparency, and you can basically get something like this.
There's Ethernet ports here.
So you can basically do stuff like this, where you start with a daytime forest, you blend, you go into nighttime, and then from nighttime you go into evening time, afternoon, and then daytime. So I'm transitioning between the 3 images. So you can take your sprites that you have, and you can do stuff like that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select that layer, and I'm gonna press Control J. That'll make a copy. So it's Control J. And using this copy over here, I'm gonna go to Image, Adjustments, and there's this thing called Color Balance. So all these things under Image Adjustments, your levels, your curves, exposure, all these things are color balancing stuff over here. It's a little bit technical, but once you get the feel of it, you'll be comfortable. So as you see over here, there are midtones, there are highlights, and shadows. So shadows are all these dark areas over here, and these are all the midgrounds, and these are highlights, all the white areas.
Are we going for like daytime or like night?
So now we're trying to do evening time. So on this color balance thing, to get orange, I'm gonna add like a little bit of red and add a little bit of yellow. So notice how the image is changing. Like over here it looks like a mystical kind of forest, and as I go this way it starts to look like an afternoon time forest over there. You can add like a little bit of purple if you want. That makes it look a little bit more mystical. And then you can go to highlights too and then play around with these. The best way to learn is to just play around. So if you want that orange evening time kind of thing, this is what I typically tend to do. Once you're happy with it, you can press OK. And notice how the image like has a different mood right now. And then working off either the same layer or starting over from the beginning layer, we're going to do the nighttime. So I'm going to make a copy pressing Control J, bring it up here, and I'm going to go Image, Adjustments, and there's this thing called Exposure over here. So click on that. So now we're going to darken this image so it goes down into like a nighttime sort of ambience. So I'm going to bring the exposure down like that. So I'm darkening the image and I'm adding that. So that increases the midground colors. Everything sort of darkens. And if things get too black, you can add an offset. So offset basically just adds gray to all the black areas. Notice how like all the black areas have turned gray, and then you can darken it even more. So each time it gets dark, you can add an offset and then darken it even more.
Oh, true.
So like,
But you don't want to darken it too much. You want to get something that looks like that. And once you're happy with that, press OK.
any of those work.
It's the same image over here, but we have just darkened things down. So once you got that dark thing, we go back to color balance. So go to image, adjustments, color balance. And this time we're gonna add some blues. So you're trying to go for this nighttime sort of ambience, so you add some blues to it. You can go to shadows as well and add a bit more blue. If you want, add some purple. So you keep playing with these until you get something that looks like a nighttime sort of scene. It's a little bit too dark on the screen, but it looks fine on the computer. So there are some more tools that you can use. There's image adjustments. There are levels over here, and levels you can play with. As you can see, this arrow is light, this is mid, this is shadows. So these increase shadows, these increase your highlights, and these increase or decrease your midgrounds over there. Then there's also, this is my favorite thing in color balancing, and it's under image adjustments. It is called Selective Color. And this lets you pick discrete colors, so like red, yellow, green. You can pick blues, and then you can alter them. So as we can see over here, there's some green color that you might want to get rid of because it's a nighttime scene. So we go to greens, and we play with these sliders to take away a bit of that green tinge that we have over there. So the black area darkens things down. As you can tell, it turned into a more neutral kind of color. Let's see what happens if you go to blues. So if you go to blue over here and you play around with these, notice all the blues are changing colors over here. Only the blues. So once you're happy with these, you can press OK. And if you see the three layers over here, we have like nighttime, we have evening, we have day. You can make the evening darker if you want. You can go back here. You can go to either exposure or levels. Levels also has this over here that lets you brighten the whole image or add black. This adds white to the whole image, and this adds black to the whole image. So it dims everything down a bit. So basically in a game, when you guys have your sprites, you make them to be daytime sprites, and you can export 3 versions of them. And then if you manage to program this transparency, all you can do is you decrease it in the game. Add a timer, a global timer to all your sprites, and then have them go from day to night and just transition everything evenly like that. So basically, you can access those same tools that you saw over here. All these tools, you can access them over here. Adjustments. There's a tab called Adjustments. Does everyone have that? It should be there by default. In case it's not there, go to Window, Workspace, and then you reset your workspace over here. So that'll reset everything for you. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly go over the next thing, which is how to clean up your sketches and stuff. There's just one more thing I'm gonna add over here. It's called Navigator. If you click on that, that lets you zoom in and out and then pan around. So that really comes in handy, and I tend to put that over here. I tend to drag the tab. I tend to drag the tab and then put it over there. You'll highlight in blue, and then you can bring it up to the front. I don't need that anymore. You can get rid of it. So here's some sketches that I drew, and typically if I want to clean things up, here's just an easy way to do it. You go to Eraser, and you click and hold, and there's this thing called Magic Eraser Tool. So you click on Magic Eraser, and you should scan the image at 300 dpi first. And once you have the eraser tool, you can play with the tolerance over there. So how sensitive it is. Yep.
Does this work on cell phone pictures?
No, that'll be more difficult to clean up. Because here we have a lot of white going on, everything's clean, so it makes it easier to clean up. So notice what happens, because it's a clean scanned version. I can just basically click. It's a little bit too sensitive right now, as you can tell, so it's eating off the actual image. And I shouldn't have drawn on lined paper. It would have been super easy to clean up if I didn't use lined paper. So I'm gonna decrease that to like 15. Yep. 15 is too low. Maybe 25. Oh, I didn't select the image. So 15. And notice when I click on that, it just erases all the white bits. So I can literally just go click like that. And imagine if you drew on like a clean paper, then with one click, everything's gone basically. And you don't have to clean anything up. So you can do that. And there's also, similar to the eraser tool, if you go to your selection tools over here, there's a tool called over here. So it's called Magic Wand. If you click and hold the 4th tab, it's called Magic Wand. And you can use the Magic Wand the same way, like that. You can hold the Shift key and then keep clicking and then press the delete button kind of thing. So that's generally how I clean things up. And you can add, like, if you want it to feel like sepia tone paper, you can just add a plain, let me change that to normal. So if you want it to be like sepia tone paper, like that old paper kind of feel, you can just add with the bucket tool this color, like sepia color. And then you press the Alt key, and notice you get an arrow at the bottom. So that little arrow, all it means is it only affects the contents that are within this layer. So notice that image that I was cleaning up, it's only affecting that. And what happens when you change this normal layer style to multiply is you get something like that. So it kind of looks like old paper. And then when you clean things up completely, you can end up with a clean portfolio piece that looks like that. But the whole thing with this color processing class is I wanted you guys to be able to make filters for your sprites or your work. And what you can do is use a combination of these tools over here as well as these multiply tools. So like, for example, just to show you really quickly, because I want to get to the fun stuff that Noor's doing. You can copy like a paper texture, for example, from Google, paste it there, and then you can multiply that. And notice it looks really gritty and like really messy right now, but you can change the opacity down to something that feels comfortable, and then you get that kind of like burnt, aged paper feel. So that's how I typically tend to like polish up my work. There's another texture, icy one. You can try all of these. You can click on one of them and then press the up key to go through all of them and then see what it does to your work basically. And you want to go subtle, so don't go too crazy with your texturing. Maybe if you want like an icy feel, you can like go down to like a very subtle blue tinge to your image. Any questions so far? I know I'm going like a little fast. Any questions? All right. So here are some sprites that I stole. I put the guy's link over here on DeviantArt. So basically the same adjustment tools that I taught you, you can do the same stuff over here. But the good stuff, like the good thing about this tab is if you chose color balance over here, and if you did stuff to your image, like it's the same. The interface looks slightly different, But you could do the same stuff over here. And basically, like, notice it formed a new layer. It formed a color balance layer. And what you can do is you can turn it on and off. And you can double click on that. And you can mess around with it over and over again. So there's no limits to how many times you can play around with these things. Like you can add levels, for example, and then you can darken things up. You can add, there's this thing called photo filter that just adds like orange to the entire thing. So you can add warmth to the entire image, or you can add the same nighttime sort of effect. You can just change it to blue. Notice there are cooling filters, there are warming filters, and you can add a custom thing. It's called photo filter. You'll find it over here in this same adjustments tab. So I'm adding blue over there. And
What's the icon for that one?
it's this one over here. It's called photo filter. So I can click this on the layers tab. I can click this little arrow and add a new group. You can name the group whatever you want. Call it filter if you want. And you can shove all this stuff, like shift click the layer and shove everything into filter. So you can turn the whole thing on and off like that. So right click on it. You can also add a color, so everything gets colored over here. So basically, if you want to color your sprites, all you do is you take your sprite layer, like whatever your sprite layer is. Pardon me, I accidentally put it into the folder. So notice it's affecting the whole image, and you don't want that. You only want it to affect the sprites. So you do the same thing that I told you about. You press the Alt key. Wait, hold up. Oh, sorry. To export the sprites, you got to take out the stuff from the folder. It can't be in a folder. You got to take it out. And then you got to press the Alt key and then just stack it onto your sprite. So click on the layer, press the Alt key. Notice these arrows over there. And then you stack it. And now it's only affecting the sprites. So you can basically export like nighttime versions of the sprite.
I wasn't going to say
That kind of thing. So yeah, the same filter, like whatever filter you have over there, whatever filter you created, if you drag the filter on top of anything, like literally anything, it changes the ambience of your image. So basically you can have two Photoshop files open side by side and drag that whole folder into like another Photoshop document. So I tend to have Photoshop documents just with filters. I've created like Instagram filter sort of things, added paper textures, added color balancing. And if I want to use it, all I do is drag it over to something else. So here's like another filter I added. It adds like a dynamic sort of light thing. And basically, if I open that up, I'm using the same things. I'm using color balancing, I'm using gradient, vibrance, all the same stuff that you see over there. I just added one thing different, if you notice. And that's this light that you see over there. So you can go to Google and you can look up sun shafts, or you can look up glow effects, and you can just play around with these things. So paste it over there and then play around with these. Notice if I press the up button, how I get different sort of effects over there. So I chose screen, and then you end up with stuff like that. So that's basically color balancing. That's just to get you guys started and to get you playing around with all these tools over there. And you can modify it as many times as you want. So it's really helpful. And Nora's going to teach you how to make your own galaxy right now, like from scratch.
So I'll give you an idea what we'll be doing. So you could create something like this from scratch. So we're gonna start from scratch. We're gonna start with a new project. So click new. $720. by 720, 300 pixels. Press OK. So we're gonna create 2 layers. The first one we're gonna make black. So if you go to the side here and you hold on it, you can get the paint bucket tool. And if you press X, you can switch the two to get your black color. And we'll paint it black. We'll do the same thing to the layer 1. And we're gonna start by making some stars. So what we're gonna do is gonna go to Filter, Noise, Add Noise. You're gonna get this effect. So you're gonna have to play around with this. Here I selected I selected 35%. Select Gaussian and monochromatic. This gives it black and white. Press OK. Is everyone good?
Is this supposed to happen?
Yeah. So I'll just open it up again. So I'll do it again. On the second layer, the new one we created, not your background, you're gonna go to Filter, Noise, Add Noise, 35%, select Gaussian, and checkbox on monochromatic. Then press OK. Then we're gonna go to Image, Adjustments, and then go back to Levels. And we're gonna darken it because stars don't actually look like that. There's gonna be more black space. So I'm gonna type in some values, or you could like drag it. So I'm gonna go to 184. I'll do 265 here. And for the last level, 233. So you're starting to get some star effect. Once you're done, you're gonna press OK. So 184, 2.65, and 233. Press OK. Now, because all the stars look like they're tiny, we want to add some depth to it, have some bigger stars showing. So you're gonna select your rectangle selection tool, second option. If you don't have it, you just hold and select one of the options here. Select an area, and then Control Copy, and then you're gonna paste. Oh. I undid by mistake. Okay. I'll go through it again. So image, adjustments, levels, 4, 2.65. Select an area, Control Copy, Control Paste. And now you're gonna press Control T so you can resize the second image. If you want to get it bigger, you can do maybe bigger like that. Press Enter. And all the tiny stars disappeared, so what we're gonna do is select one of the blend options So click on normal and you're gonna get the full list. So go to screen. Now you have the smaller stars showing in the background. We're gonna create a new layer now. Let's name it clouds. We're gonna go to filter. We're gonna add some cloud effects because that's what nebulas have. Select clouds, filter, render, clouds. You're gonna get this cloud effect. You can also paste your own cloud image or texture, but Photoshop has it already built in. And then we're gonna change the blending mode for this to overlay. So while you're on clouds, change to overlay. And we're gonna use this cloud effect while we're adding color to give the image some cool dimension and depth. Now make a new layer. And this one's gonna be called gradient. And we're gonna use it for colors. So, gradient. And we're gonna make this overlay as well. And now we're gonna select, create our gradient color. So on the side here, if you go to our paint bucket, hold, you're gonna get the gradient tool. And at the top here, you could use different colors they already have, like rainbows and stuff, or you could make your own one. So if I go to the bottom there and I select, let's say pinkish red, and then press X to switch, and then select, let's say blue.
I'll be honest though.
And now while I'm still on the gradient, I can drag from the left corner to the top right. That's the rainbow, but the one I made, the colors I selected will show up at the top there. So I can just do that. There you go, that's your gradient. So if I go back to normal, it's gonna look like that. But I'm gonna put it back to overlay. Is everyone, okay, I'll wait a bit. You're gonna go back to layer 2 and just create a new layer from there. So you'll have a third layer above layer 2. And then we're gonna use the brush tool. So it's that option. Or press B. Yeah.
What's your cloud layer set to and your gradient layer?
Overlay. So gradient and clouds are both overlay. Make sure your layer 3 is below the clouds. Now select the brush tool, and if you go here, you can choose a different brush, but I'm gonna use a soft one. I'll use this one. And you can change the size. I'm gonna go with that. Let's lower the opacity. So I'm gonna choose 10, and make sure now that you change your color to white, that you'll be painting, and you'll be painting on the third layer. So make sure your brush is set to white, and you chose a soft brush, and that the opacity is 10. If you want to increase your brush size, there's the brackets on your keyboard, so you can increase with them. Yeah, the square brackets. So while you're in third layer, you can start pressing and adding color. So the color from our gradient is gonna start to show. If I keep pressing in one area, the white is gonna start to pop up. So you can play around and create your own design. You can even change the color, so if you didn't pick blue or pink, I'll create a new color just to show you a different gradient and how it'll look like. So I'll just turn this off. Go back here, let's do the rainbow. And I'll just drag it from bottom left to top right. And I'll change that to overlay. So you'll get this cool rainbow effect. But I like the pink and purples. If you feel like your stars are too vivid and you want to dim them down, you'll just go to the layers, so layer 1 or layer 2, and just turn down the opacity. If you want to add more colors, like make the create more clouds and nebulas, go back to your brush and like keep painting. You can also if you go to your clouds, and you can play around with all the filters here. If you switch to hard light, it creates a different like effect. So you can go through them and see which one you like. There's that one too. I like this. I'm gonna keep it on hard light. And from what Aaron showed you, you guys can play around with the colors as well. Adjustment. If you want to get a different kind of color to it, play around with the adjustment section here. Aaron's better at this stuff. So there you go. You have your own galaxy. Do you guys have any questions? Or want me to go over something again?
How did you add the clouds again?
Okay, so on a new layer, I'm just gonna drag it to the top. Filter, render, clouds. Okay, it's pink because the other color here is pink, so just select the black and white little option here. Press X, make sure your black is behind, or like that. And then should be black and white. I'll come around and see what you guys think. You guys like should save this and like post it on Facebook.
I don't even have Photoshop.
So this is all recorded. So if you missed the part, you'll be able to view it. We'll be uploading this soon to YouTube and Facebook. It's okay. It's recorded, so if you want to know how to do this.
It's alright. We'll go with that.
That's because you could try different gradients. Try like a dark pink or some other. That's cool. Later on, have fun. That's awesome. I like the blue and pink. That's why I can do it. That's really fun. You should save this and upload it to Facebook. But it'll have like a whole folder.
Yes, that can
So like upload your image and still save that.
Yes.
Put it on Facebook. If you could even turn the opacity lower so it'll be easier to. And the brush.
Well, also, why can't I move it when I put? Do I need a mouse?
Yeah, usually the mouse is easier. But if you use your Aaron, could you add the navigation section?
Oh yeah. So you go to window,
Window?
and then you see Navigator.
No. I know that. So I want you to move my full speech bar.
You want to move which?
And then when I full speech bar, I move around like this.
Oh.
I think that's only like Mario.
Yeah, you have to use the actual scroll bars on the side.
I use a couple before.
The
Maybe you
Navigator.
drag the
I'm
image.
using the hands right now. When I full speech bar.
I've never actually tried. I've never actually tried. I usually use the Navigator and
I brush it like that.
Oh.
But then when you're do the speed bar too.
Oh. I've never actually done that.
It's fucking perfect.
That's not how it works.
You need to use the mouse.
I thought you just inherited it. Maybe so. I think with the trackpad.
So,
Have you tried?
thanks everyone for coming today. We'll be around to help anyone, and we'll be uploading this. So if you feel like you missed anything, you'll be able to watch it. And I'm still here, so if you have any questions, and Aaron's here, just let us know.
Before we head it off, the 30
Oh,
day
yeah.
challenge. Is it started already? It's about to start. It starts on the 1st of October. So, basically, here, let's bring up the Tumblr page. Are you duplicating right now?
Yeah.
Alright, let me just stop duplicating.
Oh, and I'm still recording. Should we stop?
Well, we could do this with the recording, I
Okay.
guess. No, stop. Let's stop. How do I stop?
It's stop.
Stop recording. Hang on, before I do that. Alright, I'm done.